today are calling it a blue tsunami. Republicans are saying it's just a trickle. Good evening, everyone. I'm Emily Spain.
And I'm Jim Rick. Thanks for joining us. Either way, yesterday's Jefferson County special election is making waves around the country. KOMU8's Nora Ferris is here in the studio to tell us what the two parties are saying about the Democratic win.
After President Trump's 2016 win, the Democratic Party got into the House flipping business. And after Tuesday's special election, they say they're one seat closer to flipping the Missouri House of Representatives. Democratic leaders say it's coming. The Jefferson County race marks the 35th state legislative seat Democrats have flipped nationwide since President Trump's election in 2016. In the studio, Nora Ferris, KOMU8 News.
Students are one step closer to having another option in taking out loans. Today, lawmakers heard a proposed bill that would give the Missouri Higher Education Loan Authority the ability to issue students new loans in place of their existing federal or private loans. The loans given out by the state would be at a lower interest rate and have an extended repayment plan. The sponsor of the bill, Democrat Kip Kendrick, says it has protections to help prevent the state from financing defaults and delinquencies.
It tries to strike a balance between the risks to make sure that the state isn't taking on a risk that's going to put us in a difficult financial situation in the future, but is going to provide thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of graduates the opportunity to refinance.
Kendrick also says this bill isn't a fix-all for student debt, but it is a step in the right direction. About 1,000 Missourians lost their life to opioids in 2016. That's according to the Missouri Department of Mental Health. Now, legislators are trying to decrease those deaths by putting new programs in place. One bill focuses on educating patients in a new drug take-back program. It would establish a location within the state where you can take old prescription pills you aren't using anymore. It's hoping that the sites would ensure opioid addicts aren't able to find unused drugs in someone's home.
Substance user will try to break in your home because they know you have that morphine, you have them opioids, the pain, the hard ones, you know. You have that Tylenol 800, you know. And so all they do is wait, you know, and they know you have to go to the doctor, you know.
Representative Keith Frederick, who sponsored the bill, says the state used to fund programs like this, but funding ran dry.
The Juul is the latest e-cigarette trend among high schoolers and college kids. At MU, students as Juuls can be seen everywhere, on campus, in class, at bars, restaurants. A coordinator at the Wellness Resource Center says Juuls might be easier to smoke in public because they look like flash drives. He says the products are new and have not been tested.
I really think that there are still harmful chemicals that are brought into the body, into the mouth and lungs from e-cigarettes.
Everett says e-cigarette users run the risk of getting addicted to nicotine and eventually moving to regular cigarettes.
Here's what's happening right now. A Texas police officer is in the hospital after being shot while responding to a call at an apartment complex tonight. The shooting happened about 2 hours ago. Another person might have been injured, but the department has not confirmed that. Officers have not caught the gunman yet.
House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi made history today. She broke a record for the longest continuous address in the House of Representatives. The previous record was 5 hours, 15 minutes. She spoke for more than 8 hours. She took time to ask House Republicans to allow an immigration vote to resolve the status of undocumented immigrants currently protected by DACA. While Pelosi was making history, dozens of protesters gathered outside to fight for the same cause. They're demanding a budget deal include protections for the DACA program, which is set to expire in early March. DACA has protected more than 800,000 undocumented immigrants from deportation.
And in the Senate, Republican and Democratic leaders say they've agreed on a 2-year budget deal that would increase spending on both military and domestic programs. It also would end mandatory spending caps. The agreement comes ahead of a Thursday night deadline before another federal shutdown.
No one would suggest it is perfect, but we worked hard to find common ground and stay focused on serving the American people.
The deal needs to pass the Senate and House and get approval from President Trump, but Pelosi says she won't back it without language protecting DACA. The sun was out today in mid-Missouri, and despite the cold of the past few days, we can expect some warmer weather soon. Let's send it over to Kenton to find out just how much warmer are we talking here.
Emily, thank you very much.
All right, thanks, Kenton. Lincoln University celebrated Black History Month today with the event Ask a Black Man. It gives young black men in the community the opportunity to ask questions and gain advice from an older black man. Brian Murray spoke about the struggles he faced while working, achieving success outside the workplace, and being comfortable in his own skin. One student says he appreciates the event because it gives young people someone to relate to.
Learning from you and learning from him and learning, so I would just hope the event would just give people a more open mind and understanding on what's going on in America.
Ask a Black Man will be held every Wednesday this month in Lincoln University's Scruggs Ballroom.
Columbia's True False Film Festival announced 40 featured films for this year's event. The screening and selection committees picked the 40 from more than 1,300 submissions. This year's festival will be the most internationally diverse in its history. 4 countries will be represented for the first time. A committee member says the festival doesn't select films based on where they came from.
The programmers don't try to do a theme or anything like that. They look for the best documentaries that they can find that match the taste that they believe has been developed around the festival.
To see the list of 40 films, you can visit our website at komu.com.
A Moberly water main break has a quick fix, but if you live in Moberly, there are still some water issues tonight.
And disagreement on Jefferson City's east side, historic or flood-prone.
There's a temporary fix, but Moberly is still on a boil order after a water main break this morning. Water is now running again, but drinking water should still be boiled. Water pressure should be back to normal, but the city is still urging people to conserve water tonight so that the water towers can fill back up.
A troubled home in a historic area of Jefferson City is getting a lot of attention with a deadline looming. KOMU8's Justin Kolar explains why restoration efforts might be put on hold permanently.
Yeah, that's right, Jim. Jefferson City bought 408 Lafayette Street back in 2009. Originally, there were plans to renovate the property and create low-income housing apartments. However, in 2012, FEMA remapped the city's floodplain, which placed the house right on the edge. This house is over 100 years old. Now, I spent the afternoon walking up and down the neighborhood here, talking with neighbors who expressed their overall concern for the area and FEMA's need to redraw this map. They say this house and others in this area have never flooded. I reached out to the city and its Department of Planning for comment, but they would not return any of my calls. In the studio, Justin Kolar, KOMU8 News.
Despite budget cuts, a Columbia nonprofit wants to improve low-income housing options. The Central Missouri Community Action Organization is making changes to the Housing Choice Vouchers program. It's $1 million short of funding since a grant was not renewed. It provides rental assistance to low-income Missourians. It hopes to convince more landlords to rent their spaces to those in need.
We send out solicitations and invitations to landlords every couple of months, just inviting them to learn more about the Housing Choice Voucher program. And we really need lots more landlords.
That program also includes employment opportunities and leadership skills.
All right, it's time for the flight forecast for the day tomorrow. We're not looking at a lot of delays across the area. In fact, for most of us, we're looking all green, except for in Chicago. They could see a little bit of snow by the end of the day. So if you're in the morning or early afternoon, mid-afternoon, you're going to be fine. The end of the day into the evening in Chicago, there have some delays possible. 60 over in Denver, very warm. We're going to be taking a look at our weekend forecast coming up right after the break.
The Tokyo 2020 Games are more than 2 years away. We'll tell you why they're closely watching Pyeongchang this year.
A bipartisan group of senators plans to investigate the U.S. Olympics Committee and USA Gymnastics.
They want to find out why former Dr. Larry Nassar's actions were allowed to go on for so long. They're calling for a special Senate committee to hold the organizations accountable. One senator says there's evidence officials knew about Nassar's behavior and looked the other way. The U.S. Olympic Committee has called for an independent third party to investigate. USA Gymnastics already faces a number of investigations and lawsuits.
Vice President Mike Pence and Japan's Prime Minister Shinzo Abe are taking a united stance ahead of the games. Pence met with Abe in Tokyo today. They agreed they can't let North Korea's charm offensive sway their efforts. They say North Korea's nuclear program remains unacceptable. Pence says the U.S. will soon unleash new sanctions. He has not ruled out meeting with North Korean leaders during the games.
Well, the Winter Games are just getting started, but the host of the next Olympic Games is already keeping a close eye on the preparations. The organizing committee for the Tokyo 2020 Olympics has sent more than 100 staff members to South Korea to learn from the Winter Games.
Back in mid-Missouri, the Tigers land 6 signees for 2018. More on the guys who will be joining Drew Locke next in sports.
Now here's a look at what we're following for KOMU 8 News today. Art usually isn't the first thing to come to mind when you think of True Falls Film Festival.
More on the artists showcasing their work. Join Megan Judy and Landon Burke tomorrow morning for KOMU 8 News today starting at 4:30 a.m. Kenton.
All right, and the Olympic Games underway already. 30s up north, 50s down south, and we're in between. And then on Saturday, remember, chance for wintry mix south of I-70, better chance for just snowfall north.
Lots to talk about.
Oh, yeah. That is our time for now. Thanks for joining us.
Have a great night.